each clocking in at about 1,760 pounds or about 800 kilograms. With their solar panels unfurled, they have a wingspan of about 100 feet or 30 meters. They use argon Hall thrusters for in-orbit maneuvers. They were built in Redmond, Washington. They'll be deployed about 180 miles or 290 kilometers in altitude at a 53-degree inclination. This is an image of what a Starlink V2 Mini looks like when it's on orbit. This image captured last year by a satellite owned by HEO Robotics. SpaceX has not provided rendering or their own image of full V2 Mini in its on-orbit configuration. Taking a look at the launch timeline, this is the sequence of events as we're expecting them following a nominal liftoff today. The rocket will pass through max Q with a point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle a little bit after a minute into flight. Then a few different events in fairly rapid succession. We'll see first stage main engine cutoff, or MECO, T plus 2 minutes 25 seconds, followed a few seconds later by stage separation. Second stage engine ignition, or SES1, 2:35. And then at just about the 3-minute mark, the payload fairings will be jettisoned. That's followed up by the first stage entry burn beginning at T plus 6 minutes and 1 second, lasting for a total of 27 seconds. That will set up the first stage landing burn at T plus 7 minutes, 51 seconds, and a landing on the drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, at T plus 8 minutes and 14 seconds. Less than 30 seconds later, the Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will cease firing. It'll go into a parking orbit or coast phase until T plus 52 minutes and 11 seconds. There will be a brief 2-second burn, so they get the Starlink satellites to deploy at T plus 1 hour, 1 minute, and 5 seconds. Mentioned the booster flying today, B-1061, going for its 21st flight. It's got an illustrious history, so let's go ahead and notch that off in the time we've got remaining with each other. Its first mission was a crewed flight. The first rotation mission for SpaceX using its Dragon spacecraft. Dragon Resilience took flight on November 15th, 2020, lifting off from Pad 39A here in Florida. That was followed up by the launch of Dragon Endeavour, the Crew 2 mission, on April 23rd, 2021. If you enjoy Sirius XM, you could thank this Falcon 9 booster for launching one of the satellites that supports that network, or SXM number 8, launched on June 6, 2021. That was followed by a cargo Dragon flight, CRS-23, sending up cargo and science supplies to the International Space Station on August 21st. That mission was followed up on December 9th, 2021, by the launch of IXPE, or the Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer. This is a telescope designed to measure the polarization of cosmic X-rays of black holes, neutron stars, and pulsars. That was followed up by this booster's first Starlink launch, Starlink 4-7 on February 3rd. A couple of rideshare missions for this booster were up next. Transporter 4 on April 1st, no fooling, and Transporter 5 on May 25th of 2022. Next up was Globalstar FM-15, a rideshare mission on June 19th of 22.
Strong back lower has started.
And we do hear that strong back retract has begun, so we'll go ahead and notch these off fairly quickly. Starlink 3-3 on August 12th. That was followed up by Eros C3 on December 30th. And then at that point, we were mostly in Starlink land. 2-7 on March 3rd, 3-5 on April 27th, 2-10 May 31st, 7-1 on August 22nd, 7-5 on October 21st. Launch for North Korea's project, or 425 project on December 1st of last year. 7-10 on January 14th and 7-15 on February 23rd. Most recently, sending up the Worldview Legion 1-2 satellites, long in waiting. And that, of course, brings us to today, where we now have, and I'll use this term generously, views of the Falcon 9 rocket. It is a very Vandenberg day here at Vandenberg. Early morning fog, obscuring views of what I assure you is a Falcon 9 rocket standing at the pad, Space Launch Complex 4 East. As you heard the call out from SpaceX, now less than 3 minutes away from liftoff in real time. You'll notice a slight discrepancy between, well, our contact clock just vanished just to simplify things.
Stage 1, LOX load complete.
Hear that call out for LOX load wrapping up on the first stage. Once we hit T-minus 2 minutes, they'll complete LOX load on the second stage, and that will wrap up fueling on this Falcon 9 rocket. It'll be full 1 million pounds of propellant. Now less than 2 minutes to liftoff. B for a $4
Stage
super
2,
chat.
LOX load complete.
Thank you, Scott. And here, stage 2 LOX load complete. The Falcon 9 is now fully fueled and ready to lift off in just about a minute and a half.
Gas launch closeout.
Point where we can see the venting from the ground gas closeouts, obviously pretty much just blending in with the fog that is naturally occurring here at Vandenberg. Well, if you really squint your eyes and tilt your head, you can kind of see a little bit of the venting from SpaceX in contrast to the fog here. It's a little bit hard to
Falcon 9
make
is
up.
in startup.
But if you look just above the arc of the SpaceX graphics, you can kind of see that billowing down there. And that is from the ground gas closeouts as opposed to just the natural fog. We're less than 40, or we're just about 45 seconds
LD,
out.
go for launch.
With that confirmation from the launch director, we are go for launch. Coming up on 30 seconds before liftoff. We'll come back to the live chat on the other side of liftoff. Let's go ahead and focus
T-minus 30 seconds.
As you heard, 30 seconds here. Go ahead and listen into SpaceX as they carry us in through the final count, the liftoff of this Falcon 9 on the Starlink 8-8 mission.
T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX. Go direct itself.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Power and telemetry nominal. Mach 1. Max Q.
and a good, if not entirely obscured, ascent from the Falcon 9 rocket, but getting some beautiful views of our little blue marble here. Seeing the curvature of the Earth off on the left-hand side of the Falcon 9 rocket from this first stage camera view. Again, we're coming up on a few events in fairly rapid succession here as the Falcon 9 continues to climb. We'll see main engine cutoff or MECO at T plus 2 minutes and 25 seconds. That will be followed by stage separation 3 seconds later. Then second stage engine start, that Merlin vacuum engine will ignite at T plus 2 minutes 35 seconds. And then fairing deployment just after the 3-minute mark. Some views here from inside the inner stage.
Stage separation confirmed. Bearing separation confirmed.
And several good events there in rapid succession. You saw those payload fairings falling away. So far, all is going well on this Starlink mission, accented by 13 direct-to-cell satellites and some good views of both stages of the Falcon 9 rocket, accented by the morning sunlight. Coming into the 4th minute of the mission here, the next milestone we're looking at is first stage entry burn beginning. That'll start at about T plus 6 minutes and 1 second. Those pulses that you're seeing in between the hypersonic grid fins on the Falcon 9 first stage on the left-hand side of your screen, there's the cold gas thrusters. They help adjust the attitude or the positioning of the Falcon 9 first stage booster as it begins to orient itself in a good configuration so it can make its way eventually down towards the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You, positioned out in the Pacific Ocean. Again, this will be the 21st landing for this particular booster on that drone ship, or the 21st landing of this booster in total. For that drone ship in particular, this will be landing number 92 since it was first put into operation. This will be the 318th booster landing to date for SpaceX if successful. Now about 5.5 minutes into flight. We're less than 30 seconds away at this point from the start of that first stage entry burn. Altitude of the Falcon 9 first stage has been plummeting. Soon we'll see the speedometer start to drop rapidly once Falcon 9 essentially begins to hit the brakes, slowing it down through its own power, and then eventually through some atmospheric drag, which will help it as well. That burn starting in just a few seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn startup. Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Both vehicles are on a nominal trajectory.
Good call outs from SpaceX and what appears to have been a nominal entry
Stage
burn
1
for that
FTS has safed.
Falcon 9 first stage. That call out, the flight termination system has been safed, no longer needed at this stage of the flight. Coming at the next milestone will be the first stage landing burn beginning. That's coming up at T plus 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Less than a minute away.
Stage 1 transonic.
Stage 2 FTS has safed.
Some good callouts there. Falcon 9 now traveling below the speed of sound concerning the first stage. Coming up on the start of that landing burn. Now about 10 seconds away.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And for the 21st time, booster 1061 is back here on Earth. And while we didn't hear the callouts, assuming SpaceX was able to go into a nominal parking orbit